Welcome back to Brooks Family Fixins. Now it's time to test out that charger that I built for my power station. So today it's a muggy day, but it'll work great for the solar setup. Let me show you what I've got here. To charge the pump box, I actually built a charger for it because I wasn't finding anything that did what I wanted it to do. So I sacrificed some of the protections of a typical charger in order to do it, but I think I gained other abilities. So I'm going to show you what I have come up with. So this is a buck booster. If the voltage is too high on the intake side over here, it will actually reduce the voltage. So if I plug it in directly into a solar panel that's producing, say, 24 volts, it'll bring it down to the voltage that I set. But it also has a booster function. So if it's attached to something that's producing, say, 7 volts, it'll also boost that up to 13 volts. So it's both a buck and a booster converter. It doesn't have certain other protections, but it does have those two features. And the idea there was that I wanted to be able to, here's the fuse, I wanted to be able to plug it into a car and charge it, because typically when you're out and you don't have water, it's because you've driven someplace. So if you've driven someplace, well, you have access to a port and you can charge up your battery system here. But if I have an off-grid situation going on, well, then instead of this plug, I can just unplug it and I can plug it directly into a solar panel. So the idea was that I wanted to be able to increase low voltage or decrease high voltage, and so this was the solution I came up with. And then of course this will plug directly into our bin. So these Harbor Freight panels, I've had them for several years. They're the 25 watts each, so the whole thing is going to be 100 watts. I've never been able to get 40 or more than like 45 watts out of these things as I'm actually using them. So I'm kind of curious about it. But what I have here, the solar panels come together and they're being tested by this little meter right here. You show that we're running 22.3 volts, no load. 22.3 volts. It comes from there. Now this is the charger that I built. Basically, well, most of it came just like that. This is the buck boost charger. And I've hooked it to all my other wiring here. I've got a little fuse in line. So we're going to test the output of it right now. So we know that over on this side of my buck boost charger here, it's 22 volts. And on this side, hook up the probes here. 22 volts. Over here, 13.5, which is exactly what I set it to. So it is bucking the voltage coming in and bringing it down to 13.5. So that will allow our station here to be charged. See that right now it's sitting there at, it's kind of flashing on your screen, that's interesting. Anyway, 12.8 is what it's running at right now. Go ahead and plug it in, and immediately showing 12.9. And we will test, see what we've got coming across here. So our inputs coming off of our panels, they were at 22 volts. So put them under load. Look at that. Dropped them way down. 3 volts. That's crazy. This thing is boosting. Those panels, when they went under load, dropped that much. Showing 3 volts on the intake side and 12.9. So 12.9 is because this battery is putting that much draw on it, pulling it down. It was at 13.5 with no load, and boom, just like that. So let's unplug it again and watch what those panels do. testing them again. No load, back up to 22. Just amazing how much these panels adjust when they're under load. But the point though is that you have a power source that fluctuates. You got it's up at 22, now it's down at 3. You never know what you're going to get. And this buck booster here, it handles all of that conversion and it puts it up to the correct voltage that this battery is going to handle. The battery's been charging off of these solar panels for about 10 minutes now. It's blisteringly hot out here, so I went ahead and moved things over to the shade. No sense in having all that solar radiation heating things up. But let's see how we're progressing. So the battery itself is up another couple volts. We're at 13.1. It's still charging quite nicely. The buck booster is slightly warm to the touch, but with as much juice as it's taking right now, going from 3 volts on the input side up to 13.1 now on the output side, that's a lot of conversion, but it's handling it quite nicely. So the other options that you've got, I have these fittings with the SAE fitting that I've got here. You can go ahead and hook that up to your regular power port or create a power port out of it, and now you can power 12 volt applications that you'd plug into a car's cigarette lighter. That'll all run off of here, and actually it has quite a bit of juice if you want to just run other tire pumps or whatever. It's got that capability. And then if I don't want to plug it into the solar panels here, just unplug this fitting and you can plug it into a car. If you're traveling someplace, you just need to have that mobile power source, you can plug this into a car. Just have to make sure that your polarity is correct. Take a multimeter, just know which way is which, but you definitely don't want to reverse those. But by having this SAE connection right here, it really increases the versatility of this battery pack. But as far as a test on this, whether this can handle high voltage or handle low voltage coming in, it doesn't seem to care. It's going to take whatever it gets and it's going to send out exactly what you set it to. Pretty impressed with how this is going, and actually it's going pretty quickly because we've already gone from it started off at 12.7 when I first started, and now we're all the way up to here. So this is a good deal. We can run it at the same, oh, still some water in there. We run it at the same time. So if you've got this thing set up beside a riverbank or whatever, you got your solar panel next to it, you can have this thing on and engaged while it's doing its charging, and it's easy to maintain.